Hey guys, welcome to Brian's Man Cave. So today I want to talk about, well, the difference between hoarding and collecting. Now, this is in response to another YouTuber, Iowa Retro Gamer Dad, who did a video. Well, he's been doing a few videos kind of on this same topic, and kind of so have I. I mean, I've done a few myself talking about the whole video game backlog. Are you collecting just because? You know, those kinds of things. And so after I watched his video, I was kind of thinking about the stuff that he was talking about. And I just thought it would be nice to do kind of a sort of like a response video, just kind of on some of the stuff that he talked about and what I kind of look at, the way I look at it anyways, the whole, collecting and hoarding. Now, as far as the hoarding is concerned, yes, that is a problem for many people. And it's not just video games, obviously. It's everything. In fact, a little story here. My mother-in-law's street, her house, the next door neighbor, this guy was the true definition of a hoarder. He was we jokingly called him like the resident hobo because he didn't change his clothes. He had an old bike. He had stuff hanging off of it. He literally wandered around the streets. He was an old retired guy. He went around the streets almost every day, picking up trash and bringing it home. And we were always wondering what he was bringing home, what he was doing. He was always, and it wasn't just his area. It was like all over. We saw him all over the mall, the plaza, down the street. We saw him like he would be crossing the roads. Obviously, the guy had a mental illness. And he kind of pushed his family away. He lived with his wife, who is also kind of, had a lot of health issues. And long story short, about 3 months ago, he passed away. And his stuff literally filled the entire house. And I'm talking like a big house. I'm not talking like a little tiny place. I'm talking about a big house, the way they used to build the big homes. And his family, for the last 3 months, has been cleaning and cleaning and tossing, like truckloads of stuff all the time. So yeah, hoarding is a problem. And, for us, people like me who, and maybe you, who like to buy all this stuff, we are constantly thinking about, do I need this? Am I just going to put it on a shelf and forget about it? And, we often don't think about why we buy things. And, it's kind of a normal thing, I think, for a lot of us. We end up with these sort of shopping addictions. And, not just retro stuff, but people in general have shopping addictions. My neighbor almost every other day has another package on her porch from Amazon or wherever that she's ordering stuff, obviously, online. So, I mean, it affects all of us at some point in time. But I wanted to kind of go towards more of the why I buy stuff, why I was always buying stuff. I don't think I have a mental addiction because at many points in time where I would stop and say, you know what, I already have enough of this. I don't need that. In fact, I used to, going back maybe 15 years ago, I used to collect a lot of Transformers. I've talked about this before. I was going to the flea markets and stuff, and I was buying up Transformers all the time. I got to a point where I was just like storing them in a box because I didn't have anywhere to put them. I mean, I can't put everything out. I mean, my man cave it's a nice little corner in the basement. I got some, some of the Transformers on display, but not all of them. So at some point I stopped and went, okay, I'm just buying these, coming home, putting them in a box. Now, recently I did pick up a few more Transformers, and yeah, I was in a toy store. The place was closing down. Well, actually more like relocating about 3 hours away. But he had a big sale, 75% off, and I couldn't resist. There was a few Transformers I picked up, but I haven't bought a Transformer in years. I'm talking years. Like, maybe I've bought like something off the shelf from like Walmart, like a Galvatron or something. But, I mean, I don't really go out and buy that stuff anymore. And as far as, like, video games are concerned, I always had my limits on what I was going to buy. And I stuck to my standard consoles, of course. I got my Intellivision, my Atari, my ColecoVision, Nintendo. And even Nintendo, I don't really buy too much for Nintendo. Like, I haven't really bought much for Nintendo. A lot of times I just emulate it. And it kind of makes me think about with what RGT85 was talking about on one of his videos about how he's got all these games that he didn't need, and he just literally sold it all off. And he's like, I can just emulate it. So yeah, I can do that. I can emulate a lot of these games. So why do I want to keep buying them? Now, there is things like the nostalgia factor. I do buy things for nostalgia now. As opposed to in the past, I think I was just buying and buying. When I was a teenager, I don't know, I just bought crap. I didn't even need it. I bought it. I felt good, you know, it's like, oh, look at this, this is cool. I bought it, I brought it home, and I thought, well, why did I buy that? And then I got rid of it later on. And it's like, you know, I'm just throwing money away at this point. As I gotten older, I stick to what makes me feel more nostalgic when I buy it. And if I buy it and I put it on the shelf and I look at it and it makes me happy, that's the important thing. And it's not just the necessity to have. And like I said, otherwise everything's going to end up in boxes and then you're going to have to get rid of it. And of course you can get rid of it in many different ways. Arcade USA, I noticed he has a pretty big collection. He's been collecting for a long time. He does his YouTube channel. He talks about a lot of old stuff that I like, the old video games and stuff. And what he does is every once in a while he packages up a box of goodies and sends it off to a friend or another YouTuber, or, you know, he passes it along. He's like, I got a lot of stuff. I got to start getting rid of it. So that's one way of doing it, you know, giving it away. I might start to do that again. I did that before where I put together a care package. I did a contest on my YouTube channel and, you know, passed some stuff along that have just been sitting there and don't really mean anything to me. Like, you know, there's a lot of little things that are just, you buy because they're cool. Like, things like these things. Like, these things are everywhere in the stores. In fact, even when I was at the toy store, he had a few of these. He had the Tetris one, and he had Space Invaders, and I'm like, I don't have those. And he was selling them for, like, well, 75% off of what he was selling it at. So I probably could have picked them up for $5. But at some point, I'm like, you know, I think I'm just going to buy them. But for whatever reason, I decided to pick up the handhelds, the Tiger Electronic ones, only because I just always liked these things. I just thought they were cool. When these things were out in the 90s, I loved them. I mean, they're basic, they're simple games, there's not a lot to them. But I just love these little handheld things. These things, not so much. I mean, they're cool. I like how they're trying to emulate the look of the old arcades and all that. But I didn't really feel a nostalgia for it. And the other thing that I grabbed was this guy. This is a Little Professor calculator. And, you know, when we were sifting through the boxes, I did a quick pickup video. I talked about this. We were sifting through the boxes in his store, and my daughter saw it, and she's like, what's this? And I looked at him like, oh my God, I remember that. And I posted a picture on Twitter, and a lot of people were coming back going, oh my God, the memories. Oh my God, I had that. My brother had that. I remember that. And that was what I liked about this thing. It's not because I need it. It's obviously, you know, it's useful. It's a calculator, but I have calculators. I have a computer that calculates. I have a phone that calculates. I don't even know if this even works. I don't have a 9-volt battery. I don't think I do. I'm going to have to go through my crap and see if I do have one, but I didn't have a 9-volt battery to even test it. Remember back in the day, everything ran off 9-volt batteries? Not anymore. Everything's like AAs. But anyways, yeah, so I can't even test this to see if it even works. But I bought this for the nostalgia, and I think I'm going to, you know, I'm going to put this up on my shelf somewhere. I have to literally clean my whole man cave at this point. Because, well, we had a new furnace installed, and the guys running the wires, piping and all that, made me take all the stuff off my shelves. So you'll notice behind me, all the shelves at the top there are empty. I had to take all my transformers down. I took everything down. I was looking at all the dust on it. I'm like, oh my God, you know, like I haven't dusted in a long time. All this stuff's been sitting up here. And it's like, you know, it really made me realize I need to really clean this up. I need to fix up my man cave. I need to reorganize it. You know, I don't have my work computer here anymore. For the last 3 COVID years, my work computer, I mean, the computer I use for work, was here. And so now it's gone. It's back to my office, where I work, not my house, but where I work. And I got that space back now, so I can have my, well, I have the Odyssey there that I just got. I did a video about that, how I got myself an Odyssey 2, which, you know, again, I had to get rid of something in order to end up with that Odyssey 2. Well, not necessarily. I mean, the guy was going to give it to me anyways, but he's the one that I ended up selling my DeLorean to, which, again, you know, that's a car. It's a big car. I had it sitting in my in-laws' house, in her garage, I should say, for 7 years, not running. And, you know, again, it was something I was clinging on to. I don't have the money to fix it. And as sucky as it was to have to sell it and get rid of it, it just kind of took this load off me, because I was like, what am I going to do with it? It's a big car that I can't use, and it needs a lot of work. It needs fixing. And so now it's the same thing. I'm looking at my man cave going, you know, I've got all this stuff in here. What do I do with it? Do I keep it? You know, not everything is going to have nostalgia, obviously. I'm sure I picked up a lot of Atari games, 2600 cartridges that have zero nostalgia to me. Probably are garbage games, and I'll never play them. Not to mention, again, I have emulation. I can play all these cartridges, or not cartridge, but I can play all these games on my computer at any time. So do I really need them there? But yeah, so I was just, I wanted to go back to the Iowa Retro Gamer Dad, his video. He dives into the hoarding. You know, I took some notes actually. I was watching his video. Like, he gets into the addiction, you know, buying things for the sake of it. And the idea of collecting, you know, you have a goal in mind. You collect until you finish that collection, and then you're supposed to stop. But unfortunately, what happens is you end up starting another collection, which can end up building up and building up and building up. Of course, that's going to happen. And of course, he sets up some rules. Go check out his video on how he's handling this, because he's like, you know, don't buy things until I sell off some stuff. He even mentioned that buying things just on the case that they could be worth something one day, or selling off or trading. A lot of great stuff in that video. But yeah, I mean, I just wanted to throw that in there, because we do tend to buy some of this stuff that we don't need, and we really need to figure out how to manage it and what to do with it, and what do we keep, what do we not keep, what are things for, what do they do, you know, that kind of stuff. Anyways, let me know what you think. Check out his video. I'm going to leave a link down below. He talks a lot about the mental illness, like I said. Great video. And yeah, I'd like to know what you have to say. Anyways, hope you liked the video. Hope you subscribe, and I'll talk to you later.